Thank you so much for inviting me here to speak. And unfortunately, I don't speak Ukrainian, but I do speak Polish. So I did understand 1/10 perhaps of what you said. And before I'm starting, I just wanted to say that I understood what you said roughly about the power outages, problems with electricity, shutdowns, blackouts, and so on. And I just wanted to say I really admire you that you can do all this and keep on going and under these hard conditions. It's very admirable. And I only hope that you can make it in person, maybe next year, and then I hope to be there with you. But I really appreciate that you do this and you actually help in staying Ukraine connected to the rest of the world by keep on engaging your community. So really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And also wanted to say that going to my presentation, it feels a little bit superficial and a little bit irrelevant given your conditions, but I still hope that it might be interesting for you. These are things that are happening now. So even though it's in contrast to your reality, a little bit out of space, perhaps I still hope it might be interesting. So I'm going to speak about the next round of new top-level domains today, which ICANN is introducing. And I know that most of you will know what ICANN is. And I also know that most of you are real experts in this, but I will still give you a very, very brief overview of what ICANN is, maybe to refresh your memory. But yeah, so ICANN stands for Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. And we are a global organization, not for profit, and we have like three main functions. The protocol parameters, the names, and the numbers. The protocol parameters is basically, you will know that everything on the internet is decided by protocols. ICANN is not the one that are developing the protocols. This is done by a sister organization called IETF. However, we kind of keep the library for these protocols. So if you look out how you should do something on the web, we will have the library. And then we have the numbering function, and as you will know, all devices connected to the internet will have its own IP number, and ICANN actually has the worldwide pool of these IP numbers. We then send them to 5 regional organizations. For Europe, it's RIPE NCC, and RIPE NCC ensures that Ukraine will have your numbers that you need. And then we coordinate the so-called naming function, and this is perhaps what ICANN is most famous for, and this is what I will speak about today. This is basically since people cannot remember numbers as easily as letters, there's a system called the DNS, the domain name system, which transfers these numbers into letters. And for instance, we run something called the root zone. So for instance, we enter .com or .ua there. So for instance, if you think about Yugoslavia, that was .yu. When Yugoslavia disappeared, we changed that into .rs for Serbia, .hr for Croatia, .me for Montenegro, and so on. So these are things that we are coordinating. And everything we do really revolves around these functions. We could create policy. So we do a few more things, but everything is this is really the heart of ICANN. And everything we do it in something called the multi-stakeholder model, which means that everyone who's interested can be involved. So we have, for instance, the Ukrainian registry involved. They represented the domain name industry. We have technical people involved. We have academia. We have governments involved, business. We also have end users involved. So really anyone who would be interested in participating can participate and give their input to these policies that are made. Today I'm going to speak about this next round of new gTLD. So a gTLD is basically everything that comes after the last dot that is not a country code. So everything that has 2 letters is a country code. So .ua will be a country code. And even if it sounds very weird, like .tv, that's also a country code. So everything that has 2 letters is always a country code. But everything that has more than 3 letters will be a generic top-level domain. And in 2012, we had 22 generic top-level domains. You probably heard about .com, .org, .info, .net perhaps, but there were some others like .arrow or .travel. They were not as popular, but they were there. So we had 22 generic top-level domains, gTLDs, in 2012. So in 2012, we decided to open up this space at the end to expand it to allow new endings. So what happened was that we received almost 2,000 applications. Of these 2,000, we actually inserted in total over 1,200 into the root zone. So you might have seen strange endings lately. That will be from the 2012 round, most likely. There were different categories we had then. We had internationalized domain names, brands, community, geographic one, and generic ones. And I will give you some examples. So for internationalized domain names, we introduced in total 12 new scripts. Cyrillic was one of them. You can see online there, for instance. We also had Arab, Mandarin, and so on. And the reason for introducing these internationalized domain names is really because most of the world actually don't use the Latin script, but it's the Latin script that kind of rules, and that makes it really hard for people that want to get online to go online. So we wanted to give everyone a chance to actually have the same rights and options to get online as the ones that are using the Latin script. The other category was brands, so famous brands like .Gucci, .Audi, .Chanel, and so on. Really just to give any brands an opportunity to show and control their brand online if they wanted to. Then we had this is the smallest category we had. We had something called community TLDs, which it was quite hard to fulfill the requirements to become a community TLD, but you had to show that you actually have the support of your local community to represent you. So, for instance, the Vatican applied for .Catholic in 4 scripts, to be honest. So it was .Catholic and Cyrillic, Arabic, and Chinese as well. But so ICANN thought, yes, well, the Vatican is probably representing the Catholic community. But for instance, we also had an application for .Islam, and however, the applicants could not show that they had enough support from their Islamic community, so that was not allowed. But we have .Tatar as well. Then we have the geographic one, which often represents a city or an area. A very popular one, for instance, here is .Berlin. So these were the geographic ones. And then the absolute biggest group was the generic ones. You can have anything you wanted. So you have like .coffee, .tennis, .guru, .sax. I've heard .sax is a popular ending amongst American politicians. So that was the absolute biggest group. So now we're going to do the same thing. And why? So this slide, you've already seen this, but I'm just showing it again. And that's just to remind you that everything we do is actually driven by the multi-stakeholder community. ICANN as an organization, we're really kind of just holding the pen. We're the secretariat for the multi-stakeholder community. So they actually tell us what to do. We are just on behalf of the community writing the policies and implementing them, but actually this is driven by the multi-stakeholder community. And why would they want to do this again? It's actually in our funding documents that we have to open up the endings. It's written there. And it's because we need to increase choice and competition. We have to remove the existing limitations to Latin script gTLDs, which I was talking about before. So for instance, if you are a farmer in China and never seen a Latin script before, you still have the chance to get online. We wanted to give the brands an opportunity to create trust and awareness in their own brand, because they actually will control it all, everything that happens under their brand. Of course, we wanted to give communities a chance to get online. As I showed you, we have .Catholic, so they can post anything they deem suitable there. And also just give them a chance to get online, to create their own presence online. So these were the main reasons for why. And I tried to be creative here. I was just trying to be creative. I hope you like it. But I know that Russian is a chocolate confectionery company. It's actually quite popular here in Poland. These are just suggestions that you perhaps would like to have in the next round. But more seriously, if you become a registry operator, it actually gives you a lot of obligations as well. And it's a serious business because you actually are applying to become an operator of a piece of the internet. You will have to support all the domains that are under your top level domain. But you will also be the one who will set all the requirements. So you can be the one to, to decide who will register under .barst, for instance. And you can also determine what second level domains there will be and so on. So it's fun, but it's also a lot of obligations. And it's not cheap. The next round is expected, just to apply will cost $227,000. That's a lot. I just wanted to remind you that ICANN is not for profit, so it's not that we actually make money on this. It's actually we have a lot of costs as well from our end, and we have to implement a lot of technical equipment. We have to have staff that supports it also. It's actually incurs a lot of costs for us, and this is why it's so expensive. And then it, of course, depends on who you're looking at, because if for a brand, 227,000 is less than a billboard campaign. So depending on who you're looking at. But yes, I am aware it's not cheap. And also it's actually just the application cost. There are other costs that will be added on that. For instance, you have to show that you can run it technically, so you have to have the right equipment. There are other requirements that you have to fulfill. You have to demonstrate that you're actually capable of running this registry and this top level domain, because we want to ensure it's a stable one. We don't want to, anyone from off the street to apply, and we're not sure, can you actually handle this, because you are going to run a part of the internet. So this is also why there is a financial hurdle. So again, if you are a registry operator, you will have to maintain the master database. You have to generate a zone file. You have to make sure that you can operate all technical aspects. You have to be sure that IP addresses are converted in the right way. You have to actually apply to all the requirements that we put into the contract, and the contract is really there to ensure that you will run the registry in a stable and responsible way. So there are lots of responsibilities. Here is the timeline. The most interesting part is the purple line up there. This is when actually the application period will open, and we expect it to open in the second half of April 2026. So that's soon. As far as I know, everything is on track. We're not expecting any delays. The red bit is something called for the RSP, the registry service providers. So if you, for instance, would really like to run .barst, for instance, but you don't actually know technically how to do it, you can also cooperate with a registry service provider. These are specialized companies that will actually do the technical parts for you. Because, for instance, if you're Chanel, for instance, I don't think that Chanel actually knows how to do all the technical things. So they will most likely cooperate with a registry service provider who will do all the technical operations for them. So we had a period where they could apply, because we're checking these registry service providers that they fulfill all the technical conditions. We had a pre-application period running until it was closing end of May this year, but we will reopen it. So if you still think you could be a registry service provider, you can actually apply during the same period as the gTLD application period starts. So there's still another chance. The blue line, I will just mention it. It's a little bit too late now, but it's communities, for instance, for not-for-profits, small businesses, and so on, that could not meet the 227,000 application fee. We still want them to be able to apply. So we have something called the Applicant Support Program, where they could apply, and I think they can get up to 80% less costs, and they get some other help as well, because this is really for groups that will not typically have all that finances to cover that. Unfortunately, that period has already ended. You had to signalize that you're interested by the 19th of November. If you did that, you have another month to submit your paperwork and so on, but you will have to have signalized already that you're interested. So that this is unfortunately too late now. But to sum it up, how you should apply for your top-level domain. First of all, you should secure a technical partner. If you cannot do it yourself, then you should get a registry service provider. Then there's this online application system, that TAMS, where you actually submit your application once the application period starts. And then you have to pay the evaluation fee. And the application window is expected to last 12 to 15 weeks. Also, from a technical point of view, I can let you know that we will not introduce more than, we will not expand the root zone with more than 5% per month, because we don't want people to get overwhelmed. So this is what it's going to look like. So if you're interested in this, there's a lot of resources there, which I've listed here. What I also want to highlight here is that I'm running an email list for Central Europe and the Baltics, which are very welcome to join. On this email list, I'm providing filtered information on what's happening at ICANN. I'm not sending everything because it's just too much, and much of it is not really relevant for most of you. But if you're interested and to get at least some filtered information, please write an email to CEB join. And I will get the request and I will approve you. So that's just some commercial for me. And I think that's all from me. So thank you so much. Actually, I just remembered, Svetlana, you asked me to tell people what ICANN does not do, and I forgot about that. If you like to, I can just quickly remember, I can just quickly say that for ICANN, for instance, we do not regulate any content. We don't do anything with content. We don't do any direct registrations either. We're not controlling spam. We're not law enforcement, so we're not policing content and so on. So there are many things we don't do, and I'm sorry I forgot to talk about that in the beginning. But I hope you get a good overview of what ICANN does and doesn't do. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Yes, there are several questions in our chat. First was Oksana Prihodko. Oksana, maybe you unmute yourself and ask a question online. Okay, if not, what about Crimea from the country aggressor?
I'm not sure what. Yeah.
Okay, and what about discount for Ukraine? Is there any discount for Ukraine if we apply for some new gTLD?
If you did that, then you would have to. That would probably go under. I'm not sure, maybe community TLD. I'm not sure if you have, because as I mentioned, the application window closed on the 19th. If you signalized that you were interested by then that will be evaluated. It's done internally. So that's for .uk. So I don't know. That goes under evaluation. You have to meet certain criteria. I don't have the criteria here right now. So if you applied by the 19th, that will certainly be evaluated. About that Crimea, I'm not sure. Do you mean, let's say that if someone from Russia would apply for .Crimea, what would happen? Again, that would need to be evaluated internally, and they do have to show community support. I don't know exactly again what the points are that they need to be filled, but that would be definitely. I mean, that would be evaluated, but I don't know. I mean, it's not me evaluating this, but it needs to fulfill certain criteria. And from a personal point of view, I actually think that they might not fulfill all criteria. But again, I'm not on this panel.
I think Dmitry has answer for this question, and we also have several questions in the chat. So, Dmitry, please short remark. No,
Well, actually, I think Gabby just answered what I was about to say. I guess the question was about, do I have my sound off? Yeah. The question is about whether Russia can apply for the Crimea or Crimea or whatever other name, like Krim is in Tatar language. I guess Gabby doesn't know the answer to the question, but can I say that we have a geographical reviews? I mean, okay, any geographical designation, right? Like they say the Amazon domain was considered to be, let's say, on consensus base with the people or communities that are actually occupying that territory or land or country, right? Like you cannot really, I don't know, register to Brussels without asking the Brussels people or the Belgian people, right? Likewise with the .London, it must be UK. So unless ICANN would decide, or maybe Trump would order ICANN to decide that Crimea is part of Russia, because the Trump can actually do that.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry to say, but that's actually true.
The question
as a president,
was,
he can decide that Russia is part of Crimea is part of Russia, and then US would recognize Crimea as a part of Russia, and then ICANN would be pressured to give Crimea to Russia. Is that true, or am I making it up?
So the question, I think, so can Russia apply for .Crimea? Yes, they can, but will they get .Crimea? That's a totally different question. And I know that they have to show wide community support to get it. And that's another question. That actually has nothing to do with Trump here. It's actually with the local community. So that has nothing to do with Trump.
I hope so. Thank you for explanation. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but I'm out.
So we have another question. Natalia, maybe you ask a question in the, if you switch on your mic, or should I read it? Tak, Tala. Okay, I'll read. Would you be able to share any insights about the upcoming round of new TLD? What should applicant focus on first and foremost?
That's up to you. I mean, I gave you some examples of things I came up with. So it's, I think your fantasy is your limit, really. So I cannot give you any ideas. We are very curious ourselves what kind of applicants we will get. I think that many companies perhaps are more awake now than in the last round. They actually are aware of this, and they maybe are also aware of how much they actually can control what's happening. It's, for instance, banks should be very interested in that, because it's actually making their email address safer. It protects them a bit from phishing and so on. So my hope is that many brands will apply, maybe more than last time. But really, it's your imagination that is your, you just whatever. You should not take maybe offensive words or anything that could be very controversial. For instance, if you know that, I'm not sure in which city you're living, but let's say you're living in Kiev and you go off and apply for .Kiev, but you don't have any support from Kiev, then you should not apply. Then you should ensure that you have, for instance, the like Kiev, the municipality behind you and so on. So just don't go for anything really controversial, perhaps. then I don't think you will be successful.
The next question about this: in which situation do you commonly reject new gTLD applications?
I think the most common is if there are too similar in the words. I can give you an example. For instance, in the last round, we had a Chinese company applying for .unicom, And we had a Czech company applying for the unicorn, and these are two very different words, but if you write it, it looks very similar, and we don't want it to be too similar to fool people, basically. So that's a very common one. I think another one will be if they are too maybe controversial. Again, I'm not the one taking the decisions, but I do know that we are very careful with from a technical point of view, that they don't look too similar, basically.
And another comment about Crimea, Oksana Prihodko. Local community in Crimea is Russian community, occupation regime. Who will decide about the community? What kind of community? How I can define that community for already existed gTLD, like Catalan language, like Tatar? What is there any precedent how to define community?
So for .cat is actually old. It wasn't introduced in the 2012 round, so that was these were negotiations before that. I must say I cannot fully reply to this question. This is very specialized, and this is for the committee that will look into this once it's applied for. So I don't know the specific answer for that, but I just do know that they will want to avoid controversy. So I think that if it's felt that it's too controversial, then it will probably be on hold at least. So, but I'm sorry, I'm not able to speak on the details about that.
My question: how the whole community can see what kind of application already taken to new gTLD, and how we can know and react on this application, support or not support this application. Is it possible?
Yeah, so it will be published. There will be a reveal date. I'm not sure when the reveal date will be, but it will be definitely after this 12 to 15 week window has closed. And yes, definitely there are possibilities to react. And for instance, the Government Advisory Committee, actually, we listen very, very much to them, and they actually almost, I wouldn't say they have a veto, but we listen to them. So, for instance, if let's say you get a Crimea and the Ukrainian government advisory representative, he will definitely, or she will have definitely a strong voice about that. So there are ways to react. Yes.
Thank you. Is there any question, Dmitry? Do you have a question, or is just old hand? Okay, I have also asked you, first of all, thank you for the presentation and for borscht and other Ukrainian words. Thank you for that you give us an idea how to apply for new gTLD. And I also want to tell us about next-gen applications that young people can apply for ICANN meeting and take part in the activity of ICANN, maybe know more about gTLD program, be involved in work of committee, and know how the multi-stakeholder model works in your organization, and how the ICANN organize and keep this one world and one internet together.
Yeah, so it's thanks for raising this, because it's something very topical. It was opened yesterday. We have something called the Next Gen program, and it's aiming at students between 18 to 30 years of old, or if you're academically involved somehow up to 30 years. So you will have a chance to apply anytime we have an ICANN meeting held in Europe. We have 3 ICANN meetings per year, and one of it's circulating around the world in different regions. But in June, I think it's the 8th till the 12th of June, we have a meeting in Seville in Spain. And so any student that is studying in Europe can apply to get this Next Gen funding for this Seville meeting in Spain. So ICANN basically gives you free travel, free hotel, and also some kind of stipend per day for small costs. And also we have a whole designed program for you to really show you this is how we work. We really hold your hand and tell you which meeting you should go to and so on. And the only thing we really ask in return is, well, first of all, you should study or do still something internet related. It doesn't have to be related to what ICANN does, but it should have something to do with the internet. And all we would like to hear from you is that you give an introduction, like 5 to 10 minutes. Just tell us about what you're doing. You will have an opportunity to give a presentation at this meeting in Seville. And the application period for this Next Gen program opened yesterday. So if you go to ICANN.org under announcements, you will find the announcement there, and it shows you how to apply. So that's the Next Gen program. I'm not sure, Svetlana, would you like us to tell about other programs we have, or was that?
Maybe just tell about this. But I know for next meeting, the fellowship program is not open for everyone, only for people who already take part in the fellowship program.
Yeah, so we also have something called the fellowship program. It's more open for a broader community, for really anyone interested. And you can apply for any of the 3 meetings around the world. But the June meeting, it's called a policy forum, because we really just focusing on policy. So only fellows that already have had a fellowship before can apply again, because we consider that meeting to be like a bit specialized. So this is why we only open it up for alumni, like people that already have had fellowships before. So, but that application fee period is, I think it's also open right now. I cannot remember, but I think it's open right now. So if you're, you don't have to be academic or anything. It's really for anyone interested. So you can have a look again, or contact me, and I'll find you the information. And this is all for everyone to get familiar with ICANN's multi-stakeholder model, which I mentioned. We need new people. We need people from all kind of communities. We want to hear your voice. You need your voice. So this is a way for us to introduce you to our model and hope that you can get engaged.
Well, thank you very much. If you don't have more questions, thank you for overview of new gTLD program and answering our questions. I see a lot of interested in new gTLD. So for everyone, if you need more information, just contact Gabriella, and she answer your question and direct connect to people in ICANN who can give you more detailed, more structured answer. Thank you very much, and thank you for being a friend of Ukraine in our .ua. Thank you very much, Gabriella.
Of course. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
So, так, дякуємо Габріелі за доповідь щодо нових gTLD доменів. А ми повертаємося до старого домену, до нашого домену UA.